laws say that it can't, so let's just make sure that we're... They're loading me with concrete. That was really loud and kind of hilarious. But I'm just gonna try to keep going. Hey guys, what's up? So today the scale in Everett's open, and I noticed today that my pressure on my drop axle was bleeding off, and I just wanted to talk about how you can get an overweight ticket without actually being overweight in a dump truck. I guess this would apply to another truck with a drop axle as well. I know that in other states or other regions they call them different names, tag axles, whatever. There's a bunch of other names that I can't remember because I just call them drops. But I was going to show you guys how you adjust it. It's really easy. So here's the gauge for the axle, and it doesn't, if the axle's down, which it's not down right now, and the truck air brakes are released, which they are now, the axle is over here, missed it. See how once it's down on the ground, so it's going up to 50. I usually keep mine just a little over 60, and so it's bled off to the point now where it needs to be adjusted. But first thing you do is, there's a gauge on the outside, and that's really helpful, except for the fact that once you pull your air brakes, see the axle, it lifts the axle up. And then you have no pressure and you can't check your pressure gauges. Now, especially in this situation, I won't get out of the truck without pulling the truck brakes. I just won't. Like, a lot of people will pull the trailer brakes and they'll get out and do something and adjust their lift axle or their tag axle, but I won't. I just don't think it's safe. Might just be my opinion versus somebody else's opinion, but I just won't do it. So what I pull the trailer brakes to, just so that I don't have any problems with the truck rolling completely on the flat ground, but I'm going to be leaning underneath the truck and I don't want it to roll away on me. I'm sure nobody wants it to roll away. Here's my drop axle, and my truck is completely stopped and the brakes are all pulled, and you can hear my keys are in the ignition, so it's dinging. But underneath the box in the hydraulic tank back here is the control for the axle. What I know about my truck is that about this much of a turn will bring it up about 10 psi. That way it'll bring the pressure up. If the truck was running and the brakes were released and I had the axle down, this would show the pressure right here, which is really nice, but I won't get underneath the truck with the truck brakes released. Okay, my check engine light's off. Okay, so we can release the truck brakes. The trailer brakes are still on. Just go ahead and put the axle down. We'll see what the pressure is. So it's a little over 60. So 60 to 65 is usually where I keep it. So that turn ended up working out perfectly. There's a lot of reasons to make sure that your drop axle has pressure. The two main ones are that you want to make sure that your drop axle has enough pressure so that you're legal on your axle weights and you're not putting too much pressure on your steer axle. I'm sure that it can handle it, but the laws say that it can't, so let's just gonna keep going. I lost what I was saying, but you want to keep the pressure up so that it keeps pushing down and it takes its fair share of weight to distribute. That's why there's so many axles on these trucks, is to distribute the weight evenly amongst the 8 axles. And then the other thing is that when the pressure isn't set to the right PSI on the drop axle, what will happen is when you're going down the road, it'll make the ride a lot rougher than it needs to be. It doesn't. Everybody kind of teases me because these trucks they ride kind of rough, which is a fact. And part of it is the way that it's set up, because the suspension on the trailer causes the back end of the truck to bounce. So depending on how rough the road is, it can make it really bouncy. But if you don't have the proper pressure on the drop axle, it will make it even worse. Like it'll ride. 1 second. It will ride even more rough than it did with the pressure proper. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that because that's something that came up today. With this truck, I've had an overweight ticket in it without being overweight because I pulled across the scale, and at the time I was having issues with the valve on the drop axle. So what had happened is it would intermittently the pressure would get low, and I couldn't really control when it would do it and when it wouldn't do it. And I went across the scale and the pressure wasn't high enough. And then what ended up happening is I got an overweight ticket for having my steer axle with too much weight on it. And after that, I was able to get out of the ticket because of the fact that I did have a broken drop axle, and it did get fixed right away. So once the fix was in, they were able to get rid of the ticket. And you really want to avoid overweight tickets. I don't know what the policy is in other states or the federal policy, but in Washington State, from what I understand, I haven't read this law, but this is what I've been told by other drivers that have lost their license, is that if you get more than 3 overweight tickets in less than a year, you end up losing your license for 6 months. And it's never happened to me because I only ever had that one overweight ticket. I think he wants me to pull up. Maybe not. He's not even looking at me. But yeah, so I wanted you guys to have an awesome 4th of July. Today is the Thursday before the 4th, so it's the 2nd. If you guys can do math, because sometimes I can't. My kids and I are getting on a plane with my mother-in-law tomorrow to go to Arizona, and we're going to meet the rest of the family in Arizona. So it'll be nice to take a little time off of work, take a little time out of the truck, and spend some time with the kids in the pool. It'll be really great. And I just wanted to thank everybody for watching and getting this far in the video, because I know that it doesn't always happen that way. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys watching my videos and commenting and liking and subscribing. I didn't think that my channel was going to do this well, so thank you guys very much. And I will see you guys when I get back. And I really, really hope that when I get back from vacation, my camera will be back from GoPro so that I can do all the cool things that I planned on doing that I haven't been able to do because my GoPro is in California, supposedly getting repaired. Theoretically, I think. Well, I'll see you guys later.